I remember the moment I decided enough was enough with those anti-inflammatory drugs. I was 82, standing in my kitchen, looking at a row of pill bottles that had become a permanent fixture on my countertop. All of them promised relief from joint pain and stiffness, but each came with a long list of side effects that left me feeling trapped. One night, as I held yet another pill in my hand, I thought, is this really the only solution? The idea of relying on these medications for the rest of my life just didn't sit right with me. I've always been a firm believer in personal freedom, and the idea that my independence was tied to a prescription felt like a quiet surrender I wasn't ready to make. For many seniors, this dilemma is all too familiar. Pain flares up, we reach for a pill, and the cycle continues. But what if there's a better way? What if the very reliance on these drugs is actually stealing our independence rather than supporting it? It's not just about the physical toll either. Heartburn, dizziness, or even those grim warnings on TV commercials are unsettling enough. It's also about what happens to our confidence when we believe we can't function without a bottle of pills nearby. That creeping sense of dependence can be disheartening, making us feel as though we're losing control over our own bodies and our futures. I want to share the 7 natural alternatives I discovered. Alternatives that have honestly done more to restore my mobility, my comfort, and above all, my sense of autonomy than any medication ever did. It didn't happen overnight, and I won't pretend there's a single magical solution. But each of these approaches opened a door to something new and life-affirming. By the end of this video, you'll have 7 practical strategies to help manage inflammation and pain, all without having to rely exclusively on that medicine cabinet. One of these tips, something I only stumbled upon by accident, made such a dramatic difference that friends who knew me before couldn't believe I was the same person. Stick around until the end, because that one might just be the turning point you've been waiting for. Doctors and specialists are finally recognizing that aging well isn't just about more medication or more rest. There are decades of research indicating how lifestyle adjustments, mindful nutrition, and unconventional wellness practices can rival or even exceed the effects of long-term drug use. I've experienced it, and I've seen it in others who made these simple shifts. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed yet, please take a second to do so. And if you find this video helpful, let me know in the comments by typing 1. If you disagree or don't find it valuable, type 0. Your feedback helps me create the best possible content for you. Let's begin by exploring these 7 alternatives. Each has its own unique twist, and I promise none of them involve fancy equipment or complicated regimens. Instead, they're focused on reclaiming your autonomy, showing you how to make your own choices about your body, your routines, and ultimately your life. My hope is that as you listen, you'll imagine how these ideas could fit into your day-to-day reality, replacing fear or dependence with the freedom to move as you please. Number 1 might surprise you. I want to challenge the long-held assumption that rigorous exercise is the only path to freedom from inflammation. The bold claim here is that you don't always have to push your body to its limits to find relief. So many of us grew up hearing that if you want to stay flexible and strong, you have to do strenuous workouts. Let's talk about a common misconception. The idea that gentler forms of movement aren't real exercise and won't help with pain or inflammation. In truth, certain lower-impact activities can be just as powerful, especially when you're dealing with age-related aches. Let me share a quick story about my friend Gerald, who's 79. He spent much of his life working on his feet in a busy factory, lifting heavy boxes and pushing machinery. After retirement, he tried jogging because he believed that's what healthy people do to keep pain at bay. But his knees rebelled, swelling up after each run, and he ended up on anti-inflammatory drugs to cope. What changed for Gerald was discovering something called restorative yoga. He started practicing simple floor stretches and breathing exercises. Within a month, he reported significantly less stiffness in his joints and was able to cut his medication in half. The surprising insight? Sometimes slowing down and focusing on alignment and gentle motion can bring more lasting relief than forcing a heavy workout. If you're interested in giving it a try, start with a simple seated stretch. Sit on a sturdy chair, place your feet flat on the ground, and gently roll your shoulders in circles. Breathe deeply as you do it. This helps lubricate the shoulder joints and reduces tension that can lead to inflammation. Doing this for just 5 minutes a day made a world of difference for me, improving my shoulder range of motion and calming the tightness I used to blame on just getting older. The emotional benefit here is freedom. You realize you don't have to be at the mercy of intense workouts or endless pills. You can move in a way that respects your body's current limits while still making progress. It's like discovering a secret door to mobility that doesn't require punishing yourself. Number 2 is all about revisiting a nutritional principle most of us learned in childhood but may have forgotten: the power of whole, anti-inflammatory foods. The bold statement? You can actually eat your way to healthier, more comfortable joints. The misconception out there is that a healthy diet automatically means bland, boring meals, and that after a certain age, it's too late to see any tangible benefits from dietary changes. This is absolutely untrue. The truth is that switching out heavily processed foods for more natural, nutrient-dense ones can soothe inflammation from within. Think about my neighbor, Ruth, who's 84. She used to laugh when people told her to change her diet. At my age, does it even matter, she'd say? But her daily routine included sugary snacks, lots of white bread, and canned soups high in sodium. Ruth's arthritis pain got worse each year, and her doctor kept increasing her prescription dosage. Eventually, she had a scare when she felt sharp stomach pains, an unfortunate side effect of the medications. She decided she needed to try something different. By gradually adding fresh fruits, vegetables, and whole grains to her meals and cutting down on sugar and processed items, she noticed a noticeable improvement in her overall mobility in just a few weeks. Her pain episodes became less frequent and less severe. The unexpected twist? She found she enjoyed these new foods because they opened up a whole variety of flavors she hadn't explored before. Here's a practical tip. Add more omega-3 rich foods like salmon or walnuts to your weekly menu, and sprinkle turmeric in your soups or stir-fries. These ingredients are known for their anti-inflammatory properties. If you've always cooked with the same old spices, trying something new can feel like an exciting adventure rather than a chore. Emotionally, you start to feel more in control because you realize that the kitchen, not the pharmacy, can become your primary tool for maintaining good health. If you're still here listening and finding these insights valuable, drop a 2 in the comments section so I know you're following along. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend doing that now so you'll always stay up to date with this kind of content. Your support really matters. It helps me keep going and sharing these stories with you. Number 3 involves the surprising role of mindful breathing and stress management. The bold statement here is that inflammation isn't always just physical. Our emotional well-being plays a significant part. The common misconception is that stress is normal and inevitable, especially as we get older, and that it doesn't affect physical health all that much. But the reality is that chronic stress can trigger or worsen inflammation in the body, leading to everything from joint pain to digestive issues. Take Evelyn, 75, as an example. She was dealing with persistent inflammation in her back and assumed it was purely physical. After months of doctor's visits and pills, she learned about a breathing technique that focuses on slowing your breath to calm the nervous system. She committed to a short daily practice, just 10 minutes each morning. Within a couple of weeks, she noticed her pain episodes were less intense and didn't last as long. The surprising insight for her was that the tension she carried from day to day was adding layers of pain to her existing back issues. Here's a simple thing you can do right now. Close your eyes, inhale slowly through your nose, and exhale gently through your mouth. Imagine you're exhaling all the stiffness and discomfort. Even 2 or 3 minutes of this can lower your stress levels significantly. Emotionally, this practice gives you a sense of calm and a renewed belief in your own resilience. You're reminded that you can take a moment to pause, breathe, and regain control of your mood and body. Number 4 is about what I like to call conscious rest. Many seniors think that if they feel pain, the solution must be to avoid movement and stay in bed. Here's the bold claim. Too much rest can be as harmful as too little. The common misconception is that pain equals damage, and the only way to prevent more harm is to be completely still. Yet science has shown that gentle, controlled movement, combined with strategic rest, helps reduce inflammation and maintain mobility. Consider Frank, who's 77 and used to spend entire days in his recliner because his knees hurt so badly. He thought he was doing himself a favor by minimizing movement, but the less he moved, the stiffer and weaker his joints became. After attending a workshop on active rest, which integrates short walks and light stretches into your rest schedule, Frank started to see improvement. Each hour, he'd stand up and do a minute of leg stretches, then go back to resting. Over time, his body adapted and his pain levels began to diminish. The surprising truth? Our bodies are designed to move regularly, and while complete rest has its place, too much can compound inflammation. If you're someone who finds the idea of exercising intimidating, start with something as small as walking to your mailbox twice a day instead of once. Or stand up and stretch during commercial breaks if you watch TV in the evening. These small acts reinforce independence. You're not passively letting pain dictate your every move. You're showing your body that you're still in charge, even in small ways. If you're still here and still with me, please comment 4 below so I know you're continuing to find value in these natural approaches. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. It's a small action, but it makes a big difference for me and for others who might benefit from this information. Number 5 might seem a bit unconventional. Adopting a hobby or creative outlet that engages both mind and body. The bold statement is that creativity can reduce inflammation. It sounds strange, right? But the misconception is that hobbies are just for passing the time, not something that could have a tangible effect on physical well-being. The truth is that when you immerse yourself in something joyful and mentally stimulating, like painting, gardening, or even dancing, stress hormones go down, mood improves, and your body can enter a more relaxed state, less prone to chronic inflammation. I think here of my friend Lucy, who's 80. She struggled with chronic hand pain that made her reluctant to do anything too physical. One day she attended a pottery class simply to socialize, and she discovered that the gentle kneading of clay was not only therapeutic, but also helped strengthen her hand muscles. Over a couple of months, Lucy realized her flare-ups had decreased. She attributed it to the combination of gentle physical engagement and the emotional uplift she got from creating art. The surprising twist? What started as a simple pastime turned into a kind of therapy, lessening her need for those daily pills. If you want to give this a try, think of something you've always wanted to do but put off because you thought it was frivolous or you felt too old. Maybe it's learning a musical instrument or writing short stories. Even 15 to 20 minutes a day can provide a surprising sense of purpose and relaxation. The emotional benefit is not just relief from pain, but a renewed zest for life, something that directly contributes to feeling independent and alive. Number 6 is a factor most people overlook: the balance between heat and cold therapies. The bold claim is that sometimes alternating between warm and cool treatments works better than sticking with just one. The common misconception is that if you have inflammation, you should only apply ice, or if you have stiffness, you should only use heat. In reality, a thoughtful combination of both can jumpstart healing, reduce swelling, and release tension. Let's explore what happened to John, age 73, who had chronic shoulder inflammation. He'd been icing his shoulder multiple times a day, but it never seemed to fully relieve his discomfort. On a whim, he tried a warm compress before icing, and the difference was remarkable. The heat drew blood flow to the area, relaxing his muscles, and then the cold helped curb any swelling. Over a few weeks, he found he didn't need as many over-the-counter pills to manage flare-ups. The surprising insight was that what he really needed was the dynamic effect of hot and cold rather than a single approach. If you're curious to try it, apply a warm towel or take a warm shower, focusing on the painful area for about 3 to 5 minutes. Then gently switch to a cold compress for a couple of minutes. You can do this cycle several times, ending with cold if you have active swelling. It's a simple routine that gives you immediate feedback, and it can feel incredibly empowering to manage inflammation with something as straightforward as a towel or an ice pack. The emotional benefit is huge. You realize you have direct control over alleviating discomfort without always relying on medications. If you're still with me after learning about these 6 alternatives, drop a 6 in the comments. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so now. Your feedback and support go a long way in keeping this community strong. Finally, let's talk about number 7, the natural alternative that was the real game changer for me: targeted supplementation through herbs and spices. The bold statement is that certain well-chosen herbal supplements can make a tremendous difference, often outperforming standard anti-inflammatory drugs over the long term. A widespread misconception is that natural supplements are either too weak to help serious pain or that they're just snake oil. But many modern experts now acknowledge the potent properties of natural compounds like curcumin from turmeric, boswellia, and ginger. I want to share the story of Harriet, who's 76, and was completely dependent on her daily pills for knee pain. After experiencing stomach issues, she decided to gradually integrate a boswellia supplement into her routine. Over several months, she found she could reduce her medication without her knee pain flaring up as badly. Meanwhile, the digestive side effects she'd suffered began to fade. The surprising insight was that these supplements often provide comprehensive support by reducing inflammation and promoting joint health without the harsh side effects that conventional drugs can have. If you decide to explore this path, do so responsibly. Talk to a pharmacist or knowledgeable health store staff about potential interactions with any medications you're currently taking. But don't be scared off by the idea that supplements are unregulated or unproven. Many of these herbs have been studied and used successfully for centuries. The emotional benefit here is a sense of hope and empowerment. You're making an informed choice to help your body heal in a more holistic way. For me, incorporating ginger and turmeric into my daily meals and occasionally taking a joint health supplement has been life-changing. It's like a light switch went on, reminding me that my body wants to heal if I give it the right support. That covers the 7 natural alternatives that help me say goodbye to anti-inflammatory drugs and reclaim more independence than I thought possible at 82. Let's recap briefly. We talked about gentle movement instead of punishing workouts, whole food choices for internal balance, the power of mindful breathing, active rest and short movement bursts, creative hobbies that soothe the soul and body, heat and cold therapy, and finally targeted herbal supplementation. Each of these approaches tackles inflammation from a different angle. More importantly, they reinforce the idea that you get to be in the driver's seat of your own health. The urgency here is real. Every day you spend relying solely on medication is a day you risk side effects, potential dependency, and the slow erosion of your personal confidence. Imagine instead waking up with the knowledge that you have multiple tools in your toolkit. Simple steps you can take immediately if you feel a flare-up coming on. Picture what your life could be like a month from now, 6 months from now, or a year down the road. If you steadily integrate even a few of these methods, you could be moving more freely, feeling more optimistic, and looking forward to activities you might have once avoided. I encourage you to pick the one point that stood out to you the most. Maybe it's switching up your diet, or maybe it's finding a new creative outlet. Reflect on how this single shift could apply to your life right now. Do you have 10 minutes each day to try a breathing exercise? Could you swap out your usual snack for something anti-inflammatory, like a handful of almonds or fresh fruit? Could you set aside some time tomorrow to look into a pottery class or a short online tutorial for knitting, painting, or dancing? We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your experiences and insights might just inspire someone else to take their first steps toward a more independent, pain-free life. It's easy to think we're alone in our challenges, but a supportive community can make all the difference. If you found this video helpful or encouraging, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone else who might benefit. Maybe there's a friend or family member who could use a nudge in a healthier direction. Each time you engage with this content, you're helping build a positive community of seniors committed to living life on our own terms. I want to thank you for spending this time with me today. Remember that you have more power than you realize to shape your body, your health, and your future. It's never too late to discover new ways to live well, and every step you take toward natural, holistic solutions is a step toward greater freedom. Keep believing in yourself. You have the strength and the right to live life independently, full of hope and possibility. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, where we'll dive even deeper into ways to enrich your life and make every day a little brighter.